this is Lodrik, and this is the game War in the Pacific Admirals Edition. This is a match against Dojo, and today we will check turn number 55. Means activity for 25th and 26th of March 1942. In this turn, I think the main event will be additional fightings in east of Java, air bombardment in China, the usual stuff. Here we take an undefended island in the Philippines. We can also see a lot of allied submarines around the area of Rabaul, so Dojo was able to bring at least a half dozen, maybe even a dozen of submarines in this area and try to intercept my shipping, but so far with no real success. Here again, this is deep water area with the patrol boat, so there's not much chance that we can damage Dojo's submarine, but at the same time we force the submarine to dive, and normally this will prevent any attack of the submarine, at least for this day, or at least in the night. I'm not sure if a submarine can avoid attack and in the same turn still attack cargo ships or other ships. Not so sure. I think this will simply block the submarine for one turn, or at least for a half day. So Kendari, clean up. Normally I think it's a smaller Dutch air base. We can see at least there is some Dutch units, but normally it's only a base force, something like this. Yeah, a little unloading problem, but this can always happen. Okay. Not too much activity for the Navy at the night. And also no Navy activity at daytime. Okay, this is maybe a little more the combat zone of this turn. I sent the second and the third Japanese carrier fleet direction of Ceylon, Colombo, and let's see if we get some successful airstrikes out. Yeah, but first some smaller air battles in the typical bombardment in China. Dojo still try to run on the road direction Xi'an, and my air force try to slow them down and at least weaken his forces west and east of Jinan. But these are all only disabled, not killed units so far. disabled. What is disabled cannot attack more. Always making pictures, get a high detection level on enemy units and bases to maximize airstrikes and maybe ground attacks. Maybe not really benefit from this directly, but if you know where is the enemy unit and how strong they are, this is at the end helpful for the decision how many units you send somewhere, and if you want to attack or if you better don't attack, something like this. Okay, so there are, looks like British submarines. Yeah, bad weather. Okay. These are the sweep of Colombo. I normally like to do this, that I first or that I have fighters to defend my own task force. I have fighters going out on a sweep mission against my target I want to attack, because sweeps are normally, if the commander have enough skill, then he will send first the fighters to sweep to reduce and lower enemy cap fighter. And first, if all sweeps are done, then the real airstrikes happen. So I give my commanders for my both carrier fleets, I think this is the second carrier fleet and this is the third carrier fleet here, the order to sweep Colombo, but also make a port strike. But yeah, something like this. The Zeros will, of course, have not the the best chance or stance against these hurricanes now, because we fight now in the airspace of Colombo. So if I can kill or damage now the hurricanes, then the pilots will more or less normally survive. But this is at the end a support strike. This sweep alone is not the main mission for this carrier strike group. The Zeros have more or less the order to reduce enemy cap fighter, to clean up the way that my dive and torpedo bombers later have a easy, less bloody strike on Colombo port. So I hope that my Zeros can sweep away all of the cap fighters without losing too many of my own pilots. Because of every airplane is now destroyed, the pilot is also lost. I mean, it's no way that the pilot can return to my carrier if the airframe is lost. We can also see the difference that here there's Hurricanes 2B drop and Hurricane 1 drop. And if I remember right, the main issue is, I think the 2B is maybe also a little faster, but the bigger issue is I think the gunpowder. So the Hurricane 1 I think have 8 light machine guns, and the 2B have 12 light machine guns. And a little faster maybe. Then only again, light machine guns normally will have not much impact against the armored target, but the Zero fighters, let's say in all of 1942, normally there's no fighter of the Japanese Navy or Army have armor protection, so even if the Hurricanes have only light machine guns, they still can make good damage against all Japanese airplanes. And the high number of 12 machine guns allow simply the British pilots to create often at least damage if they are able to bring their own airplane in a position for attack. And the Zeros, they only have 2 light machine guns but also 2 cannons. And the Zero light machine guns will, even if I hit the Hurricanes, they both have armor, so yeah, we can damage, but often only force the airplane maybe to return to base. Like now, also return to base. It will help that this will, I mean, at the end, this force the cap fighter to return and at least be out of action for one day. But only often the cannons, the 20mm cannons of the Zero, are able to really kill something. But unluckily, the game will not give the final really feedback for this. What arms killed or damaged the enemy airplane or your own airplane. This is missing in this game. And I mean, it will be additional information, you cannot change it, but it would be nice. This is missing something. And we can see that it is not an easy victory here. Dojo have here more cap fighters than I expected. He maybe saw one of my carrier group coming and maybe reinforced the base last turn. I think it's a very balanced battle so far. And balanced losses, 1-to-1 losses are in favor of the allies. Especially because Dojo can normally save his pilots and my pilots are lost. But it's for the greater good, I would say, you know. Even if I cannot dominate this air battle and will normally bleed out in this kind of battles in the long way, I don't do this too often. And it is a support strike. So this is still maybe painful for my air wings, at least my fighter forces, but it is necessary to protect my bomber coming hopefully soon after this. Yeah, again damaged, but was not strong enough to force the Hurricane to return to base or get a kill. But again, I would say on the whole Pacific map, maybe these are one of the best pilots Dojo have here, and also one of the best airplanes or airframes at this time of the war Dojo have, so they are equally. Of course, the Zero have a much higher range. And the Hurricane is a short range interceptor, maybe something like this. And this is the best situation Dojo can have. If Dojo cannot win this kind of air battles, then he will normally win no air battle at this stage of the war. So this kind of air battles I must more or less still dominate normally. At least I cannot lose them with high losses on my side. This is now purely dogfight, and somehow this well-trained and skilled British pilots are really a match for my fighters. But again, this is the second and the third carrier fleet of the Japanese Navy, so most of these pilots are okay or good, but they are not the elite pilots. The elite pilots are all, nearly all, in the first carrier fleet in the east of the Pacific or the Central Pacific, near to Kabul, and trying to keep Dojo's navy busy east of Australia. These pilots here in the second and the third carrier battle fleet or carrier fleet, they are still not at the elite status. They are good, but they are not elite. Yeah. So the official battle report means, say now 3-4, but we will see at the end of the turn how many airplanes are really lost. At the end, Dojo had 32 and we had only 14 fighters in the air, and Dojo was had a normally patrol altitude at 25,000 feet. And my fighters coming at normally I think only 10,000 or 12,000. And we can check this later. I think I come very low at 10,000 or only 15,000 feet to have the maximum maneuver bonus for my Zeros. Here's now, you can see this is second or this is the third carrier fleet, and this is a distance of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. So this Zeros are using the drop tanks. So this is the maximum range of Zeros with drop tanks, but still normal and not extended. So this Zero fighters still have only normal fatigue or stress, something like this. And the distance, the range of the Zeros is amazing. I mean, compared to everything else, it's nearly double the range what the Allies have. So I can keep my carrier fleet far out of counter-strike range from Dojo's torpedo bombers or dive bombers. But this only is normally useful for my fighters. my own torpedo bombers or dive bombers, they also don't have this range, so I can sweep now Dojo space and lower the enemy cap fighters, but I cannot bring my own strike forces in range, not for this carrier fleet. The other carrier fleet is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this carrier fleet is in range of torpedo bombers and dive bombers, but the other carrier fleet is only in range of a fighter sweep. We also can see that the British air defense have now this Fulma 2 fighter bombers, multi-role fighters for the defense. The first airstrike we only had the Hurricane 1 and Hurricane 2, but looks like the Dojo is running out of fighters, and this Fulma 2, they can strike, they can carry bombs, and I think they're also okay to intercept bombers, but they are not really useful for really dogfighting. If you check the statistics, they are simply too slow. I think this is the main issue. They are slow and they don't have really much maneuver values. So the Japanese fighters, they are also not really fast, but they have very high maneuver values. So they are more. They can at least try to avoid damage, and they also have a high possibility, if the pilot is skilled enough, to come behind enemy fighters. Like now, I come behind the Fulma and then we make a immediately kill, instant kill or whatever. But Dojo really try to bring here everything up in the air to defend Colombo, and defend Colombo, defend the Navy forces here, the task forces outside of Colombo or in port of Colombo. But the second air sweep was now already strong enough to win the air battle. So the first sweep, Dojo had, I think, 32 fighters. Now he's already down to 12. And official now it's 4-0 kill. And we come here now with 15,000 feet. Okay. So the first sweep was bloody and not so successful, but acceptable maybe, still acceptable. This second sweep was already a show of dominance of the Japanese fighter force. Yeah, this is our bombardment cleanup, and here we can see that we really kill units. So Dojo's Australian forces are starving out, giving up, dying, or whatever. At least they stop fighting. And this is now the port strike or the navy strike with roughly 120 bombers, and this two sweeps was able to more or less completely clean up enemy cap fighters. So only one Fulma was now in the air, and we forced the Fulma to return to base. So my bombing strike was without enemy interceptors. But now we have still this heavy flak And of course British flag, I think, is at that time of the year the best here for sure. So there's simply no way around this. The only way maybe to avoid this is to fly at least I think 22,000 feet high, because most of the heavy flag will also only go up to 21,000 feet. But if I let my bombers attack at the 22,000 feet, then there's not much chance to hit anything. So at least so I think I go the standard way, 7,000 feet, something like this. Avoid light flag, avoid medium flag, and only heavy flag can attack me. But there are not really many hits. There are more hits on my own airplanes than ground hits. We make 250 kilo, but we hit the deck armor, no penetration. Yeah. So this one bomb hit was a 250 kilogram hit on the armor deck, but don't penetrate the ship. And then we also see here now it's heavy damage, but the Prince of Wales was already heavy damage from last strike. Last time we had 4, 5, 6, 800 kilogram bomb hits with penetration. And this is not a penetration, this is only surface damage. Maybe we'll make 1 or 2 system damage, not more. And no fire, so ineffective attack. And the rest is only a port supply hit. So this was a failure, I would say. This attack simply, maybe the issue is it's heavy raining, or yeah, I would say, because out of the high numbers of the damage and destroyed flag mesh airplanes and the normally very high numbers of bombers attacking the port, I would expect more. But yeah, it was this was lucky for Dojo, or unlucky, or unsuccessful, at least from my point of view. But you cannot win every battle, and at least it was maybe a tactical defeat, but in strategy, or I would say, at least the Japanese fighter force was able to wipe out enemy cap fighters, and our bombers come without any trouble to this destination. And we can drop our bombs, but then only all the bombs are missing somehow. And this is now Dojo's counter strike. But it looks like that's some of his torpedo bombers return to base, but not all of them. And the Swordfish is maybe a good torpedo bomber if there is no enemy cap fighter. Yeah, similar to the Japanese Betty bombers or Nell bombers. But if there's enemy cap fighters, yeah, then they're often dead. Like now, this is now a slaughter. Swordfish airplanes are simply very slow. They cannot maneuver, so in our zeros, kill them in instant. This was, they're all dead. So I don't know if we have official now 3 kills, but I think they are all 5 are dead, or 4 or 5. Yeah, a little payback for Dojos. Dojo kill my bombers with flak in Colombo, and I kill his torpedo bombers. So we both had some kills. These are the SB-25 bombers, and Dojo can land 1 critical hit on one of my cargo ships. I just make here this invasion. Luckily, the cargo ships unload already all the invasion fleet, so these are now empty ships. And Dojo only was able to hit an empty cargo ship and my Japanese soldiers already will arrive at the beach. But one more cargo ship is damaged and have maybe to stop working, pull to port and repair for 1 or 2 months. But only cargo ships so far. And often they only get damaged but not really sunk. So now the land battle. This is I don't know why, maybe the first battle of Wushu, and you can see that I bring more or less the 13th army here with some support stuff, and it's mainly 1, 2, 3 divisions, 4 divisions, and some support units. And Dojo have your also more or less one army group, so I have 1 3-star general with equipment, and Dojo have your 1 3-star general. But this Chinese forces, they only have 2 corps and 1 base force, so it's not enough to hold the city. Yeah. So roughly 88,000 against 15,000, or 3,100 attack value against roughly 480. And the important, well, maybe the interesting information is that the Japanese don't lost any attack value, even can increase the attack value. Normally Dojo had here a fort level and the terrain, but maybe he was out of supplies or something else was not so good. Here is no information about this, but yeah, was a success. Even, I mean, of course, if the enemy have fort level and the terrain is always on the defender side, it's normally never impossible, or it's nearly impossible to conquer a base without any losses. So, and again, these are only 10 destroyed, 11, 1 engineer, 10 normal, and 1 gun. So nearly nothing gets destroyed. Most is only disabled. So 1, 2, 3 turns and everything is back. But Dojo, more or less, most of the units really gets destroyed. It's a typical outcome for this war in China. Success for Japan. The next city is under control of the Japanese Empire and will support the ongoing war. I'm not sure if Wushu really had much industry. This is my typical bombardment only to slow down Dojo, and normally it's more or less only to slow down Dojo and maybe create a little damage. Yeah. It's still that the Dojo have more attack value, and this is a heavy rough terrain, so the defender gets triple bonus. This bombardment was now successful, not really destroy much but disable units, so even if Dojo can escape here in the long run, most of his, or a great part of his army is disabled, so he must go back maybe Chongqing or Chengdu somewhere to a base where there's enough supplies to rebuild and reform these units that they can fight again. If you only stay in the mountains or in a base with not enough supplies, this will need much longer to reactivated disabled units. Good, so nothing crazy, but okay. For a bombardment attack, it's success. This again, this was nothing, only waste of ammunition, but yeah. Also keep Dojo a little busy. This is now, I think, the third or already, yeah, I think the third battle of this Surabaya Dutch forces, and there's really not more much left, so it's a cleanup operation. I also don't have much here. This is normally only an army group, but only one division, one support brigade, and the rest is only a little engineers or pioneers, a little artillery, some flak. The main battle force is this 2 units here around, and the tank units to support. But because the Dutch units, they have no more armor, no supplies, and Dojo is not able to create any stronghold here. This is why I can kick them every turn, every battle. They're only running, and there's soon nothing more left. They can run away. Again, 810 to 100. I lose attack value, but the Dojo completely have no way more to stabilize the situation, so it is over. No preparation, no experience, no supplies, so the defender is completely hopeless in this situation, and they're falling apart. 2 units are already destroyed, 7 run away. But maybe one more battle, maximum 2 more battles, and this whole East Java Dutch army will give up. Hopefully. This is now my landing operation to cut off Dojo's retreat. These are also Dutch forces trying to run from the east side of Sumatra to the west side, but I was faster with my sail around the island, land here, take the base without any resistance. So Dojo's forces are now in the mountains, trapped. Also pick up a base here, east Java, but there's nothing left, so easy picking. Here we can see that there is a base force and some support unit, some smaller garrison unit, and I have here 3 Japanese Navy Guard units, so it's only bombardment from Dojo automatically. This will not stop me. Dojo have 29 attack value, I have 137, so next turn I can let my units attack and take the base normally, and then it's over. This is a little surprise. Because this is now Dojo's Chinese big mega army. This, I don't know, 150,000 units, big strong mega or super army, or I don't know how you want to call it. You can see this is the 4-star general, 2 4-star generals in the sub 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 3-star generals with all these corps units. Of course, they are maybe not at full strength, but there's a lot of firepower behind this, and they are attacking me here. But we saw just now in the bombardment that Dojo have maybe 3,300 attack value and I have only 2,800. But the defender always gets a bonus of the terrain, and this is rough terrain, so this is triple defense bonus. And Chinese are really not so good in attacking. They are okay with defending something, but for attacking I think they also have not the best abilities. So we can see that Dojo can bring 3,300 base attack value. I have my 2,900. But because this is triple defense, my nearly 3,000 gets tripled. Because my unit's not failing, they're all ready to defend. So I can make out of my 3,000 over 8,000. Not completely triple, but nearly triple. And the more critical part is now here that Dojos 3300 are not able to really bring the power uh, in this battle. So many of these Chinese units fail to attack. So even if I don't triple my defense or my attack value, even if I can maybe only bring the standard attack value here, I would have at least still have much more attack value. And now it's a 1-9 defeat for Dojo. And the result is that I have still here some disabled units, but nearly nothing gets destroyed. Dojo also have not too many destroyed, but you can see a great number of disabled units. So, and this disabled units without supplies can normally not reactivate. So, I would say this is a typical Chinese attack in the Second World War. Normally, but it's the first time. I mean, in the real war. But this is really maybe the first time that Dojo really tried to strike back, but fail miserably, more or less. Yeah, but you can also see that Dojo looks like, I don't know. I thought normally have much more units, but this is like 100,000 to 9. The number of units are equally. The number of guns are not too big difference. Of course, I have some vehicles, and Dojo have no vehicles. So yeah, this is a good outcome for me for sure. We must check how Dojo's attack value will drop now, because in this day he have 3300. Like normally next day I will make a bombardment and then see how this number is dropping now. Good, but this is the end of the day. So land battle was a success for the Japanese Empire in China for sure. Win the Battle of Wuchao and hold the mountain source of Xi'an. For airstrike, it was maybe just so. The Japanese fighter maybe win the air battle over Colombo, but the follow-up airstrike on port of Colombo was a failure at the end. Yeah. Okay. This is one of Dojo's submarine tenders, but escaped. But the submarine commander only launched 2 torpedoes. And this is a minimum. I think there's no way to make only 1 torpedo attack, so 2 torpedoes I think is always a minimum. And the captain of the commander don't want to invest more torpedoes, or he don't had more, whatever. And he cannot hit. Not this time. Cannot always cannot be always successful, huh? But looks like he get a second chance, and at least now he can create 1 hit. And flooding. Flooding is always good. On fire, but not heavy fire, but heavy damage. Oh, but here's now a port next to it, so if the ship will not sink now immediately, then maybe the ship will try to enter the port and then be damaged in port for maybe 1 month or 2 months, something like this. And no sinking sound, so looks like the ship survived. Oh, again, no Navy belt. Yeah, these are Dojo's scouting airplanes detecting my task forces. At the same time, I maybe detect his task forces and submarines. Yeah, bad weather. Okay, second day, sweep again. So this is now the second day, means if the airplane was only lightly damaged for Dojo's cap fighters, then they are now back online and try to intercept again. So we have the same situation again. I send out my cap fighters, I send out my sweep fighters, try to lure Dojo's cap fighters up, damage them, let them return to base, be inactive for the rest of the day, so that my port strike can create more damage with not the fear to be gets intercepted and suffer too many losses. The flag losses are already high enough, so but at the end, only if you strike and if you sink something, you can create enough damage to pressure the allies. Only to keep your air force always in best shape and train them, let them train, will not win the war. So don't be too passive. At least with the Japanese, it's really, there is no way around this. The Japanese must pressure the allies, but the pressure must be calculated. Simply because the Japanese, they have no backup plan. If the Japanese lost their carriers, lost too many of the air forces early on, the war is hard to win for the Japanese. Not too. Now the Hurricanes are diving again. So I often let my zeros coming lower and more or less let the Dojo dive on my pilots. But then after the first dive attack, this is of course advanced for the better position for the Hurricanes to intercept because they get the speed bonus. But if they cannot make this immediately kill with a dive and then turn around and make this dogfight, then my zeros have the better maneuver values. And in low altitude, the zeros, they simply really outclass anything what the allies have. And sometimes, if I come in different layers, like high level sweep and low level sweep, then I can even create something like that some zeros are flying low and try to lure Dojo's cap fighters coming down, and then other zeros flying high can dive on Dojo's fighters. Something like this. And then I can maybe balance out this kind of dive bonus. Sometimes Dojo gets the dive bonus, sometimes the Japanese get the dive bonus, and if it's equally, then it's normally still better for the Japanese because my zeros have always the better maneuver values. But on the other hand, of course, we're fighting on the Hex of Colombo. So the big advantage is my killed pilots, or my killed airframes means also automatically a killed pilot, and for Dojo it's maybe only 50-50. Okay, the Fulmer. No one won't die. So the Fulmer pilot know what he's doing, or he would be long time dead already. Yeah, but at the end he must return to base. So the first sweep already brings the victory for the Japanese. Dojo cannot hold the line, and I mean officially it's a 1-to-1 kill, so we come only very low, 10,000 feet. But Dojo's cap is now at 16. It's the first airstrike, and Dojo only can bring 16 fighters up. And the day before, Dojo had 32 fighters at the first sweep, so only half. Already 50% less fighters in the air for Dojo this day. So the second sweep. And this second sweep looks like it gets detected much later, so you can see the red line. The zeros are behind, and this is often, not always, but often a big advantage for the pilot. Can come behind the enemy pilot and then often can create a kill. Yeah. But Hurricanes are simply very tough and hard to kill, so Hurricanes often must return with damage to base. Okay, this was easy, clean kill for the Japanese. Wow, 2 or 3 kills, well, not bad. At the end, also numbers are often important. This sweep, so nothing more in there. Even if you have maybe 5 or 6 top pilots, but the enemy is coming with 20 or 30 planes, then you cannot hold your ground. In this case, the Japanese pilots are maybe not elite, but good, and have high numbers, and in this time frame, the Japanese Zeros are simply at least at the same level like the Hurricanes 2B, drop. So, like I said, you must win these battles. If you don't win this kind of battles, then the war is normally already something wrong and lost, or then their setup is maybe not okay. because if the Americans getting their next generation of airframes and better pilot training, it's getting only more worse. There's nothing coming for the Japanese to really help much in the future. The Japanese also getting better airplanes, but I would say the Allies simply getting faster, better airplanes more often in the number. So this was the morning, no strike on Colombo in the morning, but there was a thunderstorm over Colombo in the morning, so maybe the airstrike was not able to launch. Now it's afternoon. Yeah, the Australians, they dying slowly, but they're dying. Okay. So because this is now afternoon, in the afternoon is there was a sweep, the third sweep of Colombo in the morning. There was no cap fighters more, but now it's afternoon of the same day, and looks like this must be fighters from the morning was not damaged or something, so they can take off in the afternoon again. Because I think if an airplane is damaged, it always needs the day to repair. So we have now the situation that normally I already was able to completely wipe out the cap fighters in the morning, but in the afternoon Dojo was able to at least bring back some of the airplanes. But luckily I have some escort fighters with my second bombardment strike on Colombo. But escort fighters, they are never so skillful to make the dogfight. I think this is related because these are escort fighters, so their main purpose is try to defend the bombers, not to go out for a dogfight. At least I have always a feeling that escort fighters have a lower efficiency with dogfighting against enemy fighters. And if I make a sweep, fighters have often have the tendency to have a better kill ratio. But it's only my feeling. I never really calculated completely. Yeah. So second airstrike on Colombo. Maybe we can hit a little more. What I can see is only that I lost 2 Navy bombers so early on. And this will not stop. But we have again a 250 kilogram bomb hit, but armor hit no penetration. But now it's an 800 kilogram hit, so penetration, fire below deck. Okay, but then gets killed. At least one 800 kilogram hit on the Prince of Wales. And the 800 kilogram bomb will normally create damage. Now we have a damage on the light cargo ship. And the second 800 kilogram with penetration, again damage. And the third 800 kilogram bomb hit, again penetration. 3 heavy bomb hits already. So this airstrike is much more successful. There's a number 4 hit, again penetration and critical damage. Submarine hit, okay. Critical damage on the submarine is always good. And I mean, a submarine have no armor, so even a 250 kilogram bomb will create a lot of damage often. And this is number 5 hit. Oh, even destroy some flak gun and make additional damage. Oh, number 6. And again, penetration. I think 800 kilogram bomb hits. Okay, 800 kilogram bomb hit on the submarine is, I think, overkill. But this already very high numbers of 800 kilogram hits on the Prince of Wales, and yeah, there's the next hit. And fire again. And the next cargo ship gets hit. So the first port strike was really a failure, but now we hit the submarine again. But now we're hitting one ship after the next ship, and even a submarine tender with critical damage. Again, submarine hit with 800 kilo. I'm not sure if an 800 kilogram bomb will normally explode if it hits the submarine, but there's another question. Okay, I think there's enough hits. Again, a lot of damage for my airstrike or my strike bombers, but not too many killed by flak. Of course, 1-0 killed, but now official 8 hits, and at least 6 or 7 was 800 kilogram bomb hits, and now it's heavy fire and heavy damage. I think this is then maybe really enough. And we get confirmed kill for 1 submarine, 2 submarines, a submarine tender, a light cargo ship, heavy damage on a cargo ship, heavy fires but no damage. Oh yeah, this is, this is nothing. This is also nothing. But 2 submarines are always good to kill, especially if they're Dutch or British. And the Prince of Wales, I think, is now with heavy fire and heavy damage, maybe also at the end. Oh, one more port strike. This is the other carrier group, yeah. And Dojo have now only 1 cap fighter, and you can see the number. So here you can only see the difference that I think this is the 3rd carrier fleet, and here I use the old or the first generation of K torpedo bombers of the Japanese army. Normally at the beginning of the game or at the beginning of the war, the Japanese already have this B5N2 edition, but there is still a number of N1 editions. Their difference is not really big. I think the N2 is simply a little faster or something like this. You can normally, if you produce enough of these N2 editions, you can normally use the N1 edition for training. You have to train pilots in Japan, but at least at this time of the war, I still use them actively, at least for my third carrier fleet, to run missions. I think, let's see if we hit here anything. A little damage here, but we don't create here many hits more. Maybe there is not more much left, and all they are on fire, heavy damage. So most of these ships are, I mean, only cargo ships in the PG. Yeah, maybe not more much left to kill. And maybe the information is that this third carriers or this third port strike don't create any hit on the Prince of Wales. So maybe the Prince of Wales already sunk between the second and the third port strike. At least you can read this indication out of this. Because if you can create 8 hits on the second carrier strike, but no hit more on the third carrier strike, then there is maybe no more Prince of Wales to hit. Oh, yeah. Looks like this was a cargo ship, maybe attacked by Dojo's B-25, so... Looks like Dojo strike back. Okay. So last round, the Japanese had, I think, 2,800 attack value, and Dojo had 3,300 attack value. And now... yeah. So this is now my bombardment. I am still roughly around this 2,800 attack value, but Dojo had before 3,300 and is now down to 2,100. Okay, so this one failed attack of Dojo cost, the one failed attack from Dojo's Chinese army cost him over 1,000 attack value, more or less. But even if Dojos now have less attack value, because if I attack now, then this value will maybe double or triple, and then I am still too weak to attack Dojo's big main army here. So I will continue to bombard Dojo, only to hurt him a little, but mainly also to slow him down. So I think Dojo will maybe still try to maybe escape here to the west, but he can also try to go to Xi'an, so maybe it's related to what he's doing with his other forces coming down the street. If he can link up this force in Xi'an with his other forces, then I will have trouble. We'll see. This is a bombardment, but nothing happened at the end. This is also Dojo's standard automatically bombardment, but nothing happened. Okay. So the turn is over. Nothing really important for the land battle or navy battle, but the airstrikes was, I would say, successful at the end for Japan. The intelligence reports say that the Allies lost 25 airplanes and Japan only lost 12. Okay, but of course, and 2 killed on the field. Oh, okay. But 24 killed by flak, of course, this is a very high number. The operational losses is now equally. But 24, but this is more or less maybe normal. If you try to attack with Japanese airplanes, allied heavy base, and there's a lot of flak, then you must more or less accept this. Yes, really maybe if it's a Dutch port or American port, but early in the war, but now it's not more so early in the war, and the British flag is simply, I think, one of the best in the game. So at the end, high flag losses are related to the flag. Yeah, okay, cannot change. And 4 are written off. 12 frontline fighters gets killed, but yeah, they gets killed. But Dojo also lost more or less. I mean, the Fulma maybe not the best. These are maybe second class frontline fighters. But Hurricane 1 or Hurricane 2B, they are both at the same level like zeros. So Dojo lost 8. No. Yeah, and some written off. So Dojo lost 23 frontline fighters, but I lost only 13. So this, I would say, because I lost no other fighters, so 13 zeros for 23 Hurricanes is a good ratio. Maybe if we check the pilots, I don't know how many pilots Dojo lost. It's maybe, but this is okay. This is okay. The Fulma 2, I don't care so much. The dive bombers, killed by flak. This is an N1 edition. This is okay. The swordfish, all 4 gets killed easily, no problem. And I lost here 3 scout airplanes again, recon airplanes. This is too low altitude. I think I let them run on 7,000 feet, so later on I changed it back to 22,000. Then I have not more this flak issue with my scout planes. The rest is, I think, standard. A little operational losses here. Catalina. Okay, this is all Dojo's stuff. Nothing more. So today, Allies 37, Japanese 48, but I attack Colombo port again, and Dojo have a lot of flag power, so I would say this is fine. No big issue. And out of my 48 destroyed airframes, 29 killed pilots, 3 wounded pilots, and this missing also will not return normally. So I lost now 33 pilots in one turn. Yeah, but 33 pilots out of 48 airframes is maybe still acceptable if I strike enemy bases. Good. And ship sunk. Last turn. Not so much official. I don't know sure why, because normally the combat report says that the Dutch submarine sunk, but somehow they don't plop up here. More important is that this is a good Japanese 13-point cargo ship. This is something for invasion stuff, because they are fast and they normally have not so early on, but you can later increase the anti-aircraft power. So this is a better cargo ship, I would say, for the Japanese. A little unluckily, one bomb hit, one kill immediately. But sometimes Dojo is also lucky. And this is only the 1 point cargo ship and the submarine tender. But in the rest, fog of war. I know, or the combat summary say Dutch submarines sunk, and the Prince of Wales also get hit many times. So I think they're all dead, but not today. Maybe in 1-2 weeks I get an intelligence report that this ship also sunk, but not today. Anything else? Yeah. Dojo's try to run east of Yenan. Okay, let him try. Dojo escaped the one hex, now is in the next hex, and I still try to catch up. Maybe next turn or next turn I can maybe come out of this desert area, mountain area, and maybe can also arrive at the road. So I can still walk here on move mode, but I have no road because the road is first coming. And Dojo is maybe walking on combat mode, but he have a road. So he will be still faster than me. You can also see that I took, I think last turn or before already, the base of Lanchao, but I cannot. I have to see on repair on, but simply there are no supplies coming. So long Dojo can block here the main road, this is the main road, I can never get enough supplies to repair here anything. So I can only bring here over the small road here emergency supplies to maybe feed my armies a little, but this will never be enough. This army, the big army with 6,500 attack value, they transport still some supplies here, but I think I will soon have bigger issues with my supplies. I can bring here now maybe, I can take here next turn Hami, then I have a main road going here up and going down again. Maybe this will also help, but normally every hex it's simply distance. This will also not help me too much because the distance is too far. And then also supplies will not arrive or will get lost on the way, something like this. So this whole situation is still not really under control for me. I must try to force or bring my forces in position to attack Dojo again, take here the last base, and try to get rid of these forces in the mountains. Bring my army back in position before Dojo can create here a situation that if Dojo can force me out of Xi'an, then I get really trouble. We will see how this play out in the future. Yeah, in the center is not much happened. Dojo don't come to pressure me, and I don't want pressure Dojo, so this is inactive. This whole center front is we're waiting that someone is doing something, but I do nothing and he does nothing, so we all waiting here. My source army took Wushao, and the base is more or less okay. I mean, manpower I don't need. Resources, 90% is okay. A little damage, 80% maybe. Light industry is also okay, but I would normally not repair this. Normally this I always switch off. And also resources I will not repair. Make no sense. The game rules and the cost of repair are simply too high. It makes no sense. So I maybe wait. This is now the 13th army, and the 23rd army is coming the road. So I will maybe unite both armies here and then force Dojo for the next battle in this hex. Or maybe Dojo will retreat. I don't know. This will need 1, 2, 3 turns before I can link up both armies to create here the next strike force, and then go slowly, but at the end follow my plan to take first normally. I will see which city I will go first. I will try to bring my units in this hex, and then I can choose if I go north, east or west. I will maybe prefer west to take both of the cities to open the main road to Vietnam, so I can get supplies also from Vietnam, not only from Hong Kong and Canton here up. Will simply maybe help me to supply this kind of armies, because this the main issue is for the Japanese is later on you can create these big armies, but if you go more far away from your big port cities, it's less and less supplies will arrive and supply your armies, and then your armies are starting to starve and the efficiency of your armies will drop. So it's easy to fight here near the coast, but if I go deeper in the mountains, the benefits will normally always stay with Dojo. Here in Burma, my tank forces arrive already in the next city. So I see here 8,500 British forces. So I'm not sure if I can take the base, but I have here only 200 attack value, and these are only tank units. So they are good for open field battle, but we will see. I don't know if Dojo have here now fort level, because it's a little behind the front line. Maybe it was a little surprise for Dojo. Mainly I won't take the base to get rid of this enemy air base, so that he cannot or that I can dominate the air in source or center of Burma at least. And I also try, next turn I will also arrive in Burma. Rangoon, I'm already in Burma. So next turn we see here normally a double battle of in Rangoon and in Toungoo. So I don't know if I can take both bases, but if I can take one of the bases, then it's already a benefit for me. But the biggest issue is, of course, here for my Rangoon army is I have here nearly no supplies more. So this hex have no supplies. This unit's fighting what they can only. They have only the supplies they can carry with them directly. So these units are already starving. So it's time to create a decisive battle here and finish this and get a lot of points. With 1,200 points for the allies, I must take away, because now we have Dojo have 7,700 victory points, and I must increase the gap much more. These are my 2 carrier fleets, so this is task force number 3. You can also call it maybe the 3rd carrier fleet. And so I had this on naval attack, and if I find no task forces on the open sea, then I make a port attack. And then I tell them, okay, port attack, make on Colombo. They come from 9,000. And I think I did this because I don't want to have a dive attack. Because if you want to make a dive attack, you must go for 10,000 feet. In the moment I say make it from 9,000, it's more or less I force this dive bombers to make a horizontal attack. The chance to hit is not so high, but I can avoid the light and medium flag. At least I can try to avoid. If it's really successful is the other question. And here 10,000. Okay. Cap 15,000, range 11,000, use drop tanks. so still be in normal radius for the fighters. Yeah. So this is the third carrier fleet, and here is the second carrier fleet. This is called Task Force number 12 anyway. And this is around Kara and Akagi, so this is our first class. This is elite units. They create also the many hits on the Prince of Wales. And the pilots are simply have higher skills. Torpedo attack around 71. This is a normal bomb hits. You can see there are some elite pilots and some pilots. I just had enough time to train and teach them the necessary stuff, but they lacking the Navy bomb attack. There's much to do still. Good. So the carrier lost also some airplanes, mainly to Flag, I would say. Flag 6 lost dive bombers, and here Flag loss is 15. But this is a Kara, so this unit is also making the strike on Pearl Harbor twice. So of course I lost a lot of bombers against Flag. You can see here no active fighter more, and we have detection level 9 of 10. This is more or less the highest you can have, but there are still enemy submarines, and so far it looks like there are still battleship and submarines in the port. Yeah. So maybe I must attack again, but can be also false report. I still think is the first port strike create a hit on Prince of Wales, the second make hits on Prince of Wales, and the third don't create hits on Prince of Wales. So I really don't believe that that Prince of Wales is still active. Maybe it's not 100% sure. I get no sinking information, but out of experience with the game, if the ship is sunk, you cannot create hits more. So, and this is a little why I believe Prince of Wales is dead already. He is a cargo ship, but it's out of range. My carrier fleet is here, but this is 10, and I only have a range of 7, I think. Dive bombers always go only 6, and the torpedo bombers had a range of 9. Yeah, just out of range. And some submarines are here. And here are more submarines, so I must be a little careful with my units, but okay. Yeah. Anything else? I think next turn is still a normal turn, but I think then the 1st of April I will make a longer explanation special episode again, talking about the tracker software and supply situation and R&D. So Java is now, at least east of Java, is more or less clean. Dojo's Dutch forces are beaten back again. Yeah. Maybe I will send here some Navy units or Navy Guard units to take the last Dutch forces, and I can maybe kick Dojo's East Java army once again, and then they must give up. Here in the west I still waiting. Normally I will now finish the east and then I go to west. Then I take Batavia. Still have some time. Nothing here. I saw, yeah, this was the unit lost the cargo ship. Yeah. So the ships are all empty. They unload everything, but Dojo was able to at least kill one out of my cargo ships. Yeah, can happen. These are my 3 Navy Guard units. This unit is a little damaged, but the 2 others are more or less at nearly maximum power. So I will take this base normally. 1,500 Dutch units cannot hold me. or stop me. That's okay. Here, yeah, no activity here so far. The carrier, yeah, all carriers are still here. The Hero is still under emergency repair, but the float damage cannot be fixed more, so it's only now engine damage. I think I try to reduce the engine damage a little more because they are not major, and then I prepare to bring my carrier back to Japan. At the same time, I can my 3 other main carriers or first class carriers are now completely fixed. I must only, yeah, normally I would like to bring up my air power, but all of these air wings are still locked, and first in July I can increase the size of my air wings, so I'm a little handicapped here. At least the one carrier is at maximum air wing power. Good. So I will maybe go out with my, 3 fleet carriers are still a powerful force. I have here 70 and 70, so 140 plus 50. So 180, 190. This is still normally, yeah, punching power. Additionally, I have here 4 battleships and some heavy cruisers, light cruisers. I can create here a little, yeah, attack value and punching power to let Dojo pay for his successful, yeah, bombing strike on my carrier. If he maybe hit the carrier once more, then maybe my carrier was be doomed, but so I was a little lucky. 2 hits was not enough to really knock out my hero carrier, but yeah, I must be a little careful in the future maybe, and to have more cap fighters. Yeah, there's not much more to say I think now. If you have any questions, always ask in the comments or ask in the Discord, and we will see how fast Dojo can upload the next turn. So it was now a little slow, but maybe we can hope. Maybe Dojo can come back to his old 2-3 day schedule. We will see. See you all. Take care. Bye bye.